Woohoo! Good morning. Welcome, Facebook fans. My name is Patience, and I have a small business called notesfrompatience.com. And today, I am going to talk about this stamp set, Waterfront. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I live in Central Arkansas. And that is in the U.S. for those of you watching the video replay on YouTube. Like I said, I'm from Central Arkansas, but I do have customers up in Ohio. Hello. I love those people. They used to live in Arkansas. Now they live in Ohio. So if you're catching the replay, thank you. Welcome. And give me a thumbs up on YouTube. Give me a like if you're on Facebook. And share. If you would subscribe to my YouTube channel, that would be great. Like I said, we're going to work with Waterfront today. Now, when this stamp set first came out, it's been a couple of years. I was very intimidated by it because I don't fancy myself as an artist, a painter, but this made me feel like I was a painter. My mom paints, and she paints barn scenes and stuff, and I thought I would always really like to do that, but with the stamping, I felt like I was doing that with a bunch of different color inks. And I felt like I was creating that. This is let me show you a card I made a couple of years ago. This is a beach scene. And it has different color waters that are made with two different stamps. And we have the sand. And then we have the little beach bungalows, mountains in the background. And then on the inside, put a couple of palm trees. So this card was fun to make, and I kept it because it was one of the first cards I made. And I really like it. You don't have to have any special techniques, any special training. This is just an easy set. If you're just joining me, welcome. My name is Patience. And I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and today is October 19th, 2020. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, I'm going to use my card base. I'm going to stamp a sentiment all over the card base. Instead of using a different color paper for the background, I'm going to use a sentiment. And the sentiment I'm going to use is Friends Make the Good Times Better. So my card base is Pear Pizzazz, and I'm taking the same color ink, Pear Pizzazz. And I'm going to stamp this sentiment all around the outside because my paper's going to go toward the center. It doesn't matter if you can read it. I'm just going to stamp it randomly. You know, there's no mistakes. There's only opportunities to embellish things. And it doesn't matter if you can't read the sentiment, because we're actually going to have the sentiment on the card also. But this just gives you a little background. Get this done quickly. You see, I'm not even spacing it out. It's not symmetrical because it'll look good. Okay, so I've got my background done. There we go. And then I'm going to just set this aside because I don't need it just yet. And I'm going to take if I can find my paper that I have already pre-cut. Okay, and I will put the measurements in my video that I will upload to my blog and also YouTube. So I'm going to use this piece of paper. It's just regular Whisper White. It's not shimmer. It's not thick. It's just regular paper. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do. I'm going to put my green over to the side, and I'm going to pull out some crumb cake. Crumb cake is a brown. I'm going to take the mountain image. Here's the mountain image. Now, before you look at my stamp, you're going to know that I've used it a lot. This is what my stamp looks like. It is photopolymer, and for the most part, it's a clear stamp. But I have used this so much. It stains, but this black does not come out on anything. And it's the Stays On ink that I used for it to stay on something one time. So it's clean. It's just really stained because it's really loved. So first of all, I'm going to stamp just one mountain, probably on the upper half of my cardstock here. There we go. I have a mountain, and that's all the brown I need. So I'm going to close that ink up. Then I'm going to get, let's see, Pool Party, which is the watercolor that I just love. And I'm going to take this huge image right here, and it's going to be my water. And I've got it mounted on a block already, but I've got it upside down than what it shows on the case. So I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to put that right under, well, let's see, let's leave a gap in there. A little bit of a gap, but I'm going to put my water in there. There you go. There's my water. And I'm done with the Pool Party. So now, you know how water has different colors in it. I'm going to use Pacific Point. And I'm going to take another image. This one, I use this image for ground cover, for water, and for clouds. So you could really, the stamp set is really versatile. You can use different colors, different stamps. You'll have a different card every time. Okay, there's my little bit of water. Now, let's see. I want some ground in between the mountain and the water. And there's a long skinny piece right here that I'm going to use for that. Make sure that's clean. Okay. And I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz. I think I told a story when I said I wasn't going to use it again. This is the color of the cardstock. And I'm just going to use it for the grass in between here, the ground. Doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. And then we need a sun in the sky. So I'm going to use So Saffron Yellow. And let's see, I'll put the sun over here. There we go. Now I want some trees. So my trees are going to be a little bit different color green. I'm going to use Old Olive. That's one of my favorite color greens. If you've been to any of my classes, you know that I really, really like the green colors. I tend to gravitate toward those. Now, I didn't tell you I was grabbing a tree. This is the trees that we're going to put on here. And we're going to put those in the grass. Like that. Now, when you're looking at that, the trees are bigger, the mountain is far off, so it just gives you a little dimension on this picture. And then I have one more thing. I always like a little splash of abstract, and there are a bunch of dots. I don't know if you can see this. There's just some grunge, paint splatters. And for this part, for me, I'm calling it ocean spray. So it's, you know, it's the water spray. How the beach gives you a little water spray. I'm going to have some dots. I'm just going to put those just a couple of places there. And that's all I need. So now I'm going to set this aside. And I've got a small piece of paper. This came from one of my scraps. It's just 1 1/4 by about 2 inches. And I'm going to put my sentiment, the one that we stamped all around our card, I'm going to put it on here. And I'm going to use the dark blue, the Pacific Point color. I'm going to stamp this right up there toward the top. Okay. Then I'm going to take my paper snips and I'm going to make it a flag. Let's see. Let's cut it off a little more. I'm going to eyeball it, cut a little slip right there in the middle, and then just flag the ends. There we go. And then I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive. I'm going to use my Stampin Seal. This is a new for Stampin' Up. We're all trying to get used to the new. You know how you get used to something and then you run out of it. You've just got to get used to a new one. Here we go. Got it going. And, oh, before I do that, I want to pick this up because I'm going to set this on here, but I'm going to have it hanging off the bottom. There we go. And now to give this card a little more dimension with the mountains in the back and the trees in the foreground, I'm going to put this mounted up on dimensionals. And our dimensionals are what we used to call pop dots or something of that effect. And I'm looking for them on my workspace. You know how you get on your workspace and you lose your stuff. Let's see. Always got dimensionals around. Here we go. So I'm going to put 4 dimensionals on this. Okay. Oh yeah, and I also want to put one in the middle. That will keep it from warping when you put it through the mail, because our mail, it goes through crazy things. Okay. So, I'm going to eyeball this. Put this right there. So, it gives the card dimension because it's popped up off the base. And perfect. I think this is perfect card. You could send it as a thank you card because friends make the good times better. And we do have another sentiment that goes with this. This is in the hard times a little easier. I'm going to leave that off because I'm actually going to make this a thank you card. I need a thank you card today. So I'm going to turn this one into a thank you card. Now, Pear Pizzazz is a light color cardstock, so you can write directly on that. Or you can get another piece of paper and mount that in there and maybe put some trees on that. Well, let's go ahead and do that. Let's do that. I'll show you how I do that. Get the trees and my green. Just put the trees in the bottom. And then put my adhesive on here. And, oh, I got something on my card. Let me see if it's just a little sticky. There we go. Got that off. I wasn't going to put it on the inside if I got anything in there. I could just turn it over because that's great quality paper. Let me get that dimensional off of there. And there you go. Okay. Now, I have another card I want to show you. And it's going to be a beach scene. So, we will have a beach scene. Get my paper here. I'm going to use the same size paper. And this time we're going to use same color water. So it's my pool party. I'm going to get my big water stamp out that I used. Because we're going to use this stamp in a different way too. But I'm going to go ahead and put my water down there. Then I'm going to clean my stamp with my Stampin' Chamois. And then I'm going to get... Let me close some of my inks up. I'm going to get the yellow back out that we used for the sun. And I'm going to make a sky with the same stamp, the water stamp that I did that with. We're going to turn it around and make a sky with it. And I know how this may look like a big thunderhead, but I'm going to make it yellow. See that? I almost stamped it in the blue again. I'm going to do this yellow. And I'm just going to make a little gap there. Okay, it looks bright, but it will dry a little bit. It'll dry a little lighter. Then I'm going to use this little stamp. This one right here that has a little crook in it that we used for the darker water. And I'm going to use a darker color yellow to put that into the sky. Clean that stamp to get blue out, or I'm going to have green in the sky. There we go. I'm just going to put that up there. So now I've got a darker spot there. And while I've got this yellow open, I'm going to make a dark, bright, vibrant sun. Right there. Okay. I love this stamp set so much. I actually have 2 of them. And the reason I have 2 is because I lost this little stamp once before. And I found it about 2 weeks later stuck to a package of something because I took it off my block and it stuck to something, and then I lost it. And I mentioned that I had lost my son, and when I said that with a group of people, they looked at me funny, but I meant I lost the sun out of my stamp set. So it was funny at the time. Okay, so now I'm going to use crumb cake because we have a gap in between the sky and the water. And I'm going to use that long skinny stamp that we used earlier for our land. And we're going to use dark brown again. And this is crumb cake. I'm just going to put it in the middle. It's not perfect, but it looks good to me. Okay, now I can leave it like this. It looks like maybe an island out there, water. So I think I want some palm trees. And you can really tell I've used these stamps too because they're black, stained. So I'm going to put palm trees right there. And then I'm going to get my old olive out. And then this is the palm tree fronds, palm fronds. And they are lined up perfectly to go on the stems of the tree, trunks of the tree. So there you go. So I'm also going to make this card a thank you card. And there is a small sentiment that says thanks. And it is really small. I'm going to show you how small it is. I'm just going to put it down at the bottom. Thanks. So there you go. I've got this. So now let's mount that up onto a card base. And to do that, I'm going to put dimensionals on it again because I like the way it stands out. And by the way, I just want to tell you, thank you to the customers that I had last week to buy my Monday morning make to-go kit. I always have a to-go kit, and I will be putting that into the comments. And I'm going to put this maybe toward the top because I'm going to put a bow. I'm going to put linen thread. I'm just going to tie a small bow. And use a mini glue dot to put that on there. Now with mini glue dots, you can take your pick tool, but this is a small bow, so I'm actually going to get it on my finger and I'm going to roll it into a little bitty squished ball. And then I'm just going to put it at the very bottom of the card. And there you go. I've got my thanks on there, and this is also going to be a thank you card. And I didn't put anything on the inside yet. This is light enough you can write on it, or you can mount it up with another paper. So that is the second card. Now my third card I want to show you is going to be more of a masculine card. And so I'm using darker colors for this. I'm going to stamp on this 3x3 square plain Whisper White. And let's see, I'm going to use my dark green, which is called Mossy Meadow. And so I'm going to make just what I said. I'm going to make a meadow. Let me get that out of the way. We're going to use the big stamp that we used for the water and the sky a while ago. I'm going to get Mossy Meadow on here. Now this is a deep, rich green. And I'm going to probably go all the way down to the bottom of the card on this. Ooh, look at that. I like it. I'm going to leave that open. And then I'm going to get Smoky Slate. It's a gray. It's real smoky gray. I'm going to get that. And I'm going to make the mountains in the background with my Smoky Slate. Okay. And now I'm going to show you a technique on this. It's called stamping off. Earlier when we made this, let's see where to go. This card, we just had one mountain. We're going to put several mountains in the background here. So I'm going to just put this right here. And then I'm going to move over to the right and stamp again. And so it's a lighter image. So it looks like I have a mountain here and a mountain there. So I'm going to stamp again, and I'm just going to move over to the side here. Oh, I love that. And then I'm going to stamp again, but I'm going to stamp off on my grid sheet, and I'm going to put this up top. And so you've got the darker image here, and when you stamp off, or second generation, you've got the lighter image there. So see, it makes you feel like an artist, and just, you know, I love it. I just love it. Okay, so the card base that I'm using is a brown, even though the mountains are gray. So I'm going to get some ground cover here. I'm going to pull back out my crumb cake, and I'm going to get that piece, long skinny piece that I use for ground. And I'm going to fill in this spot here. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, now I want some trees, and I'm going to go back with my dark green again to use on the trees. Now we're going to do the trees the same way as we did the mountain. Get my mossy meadow over here. And since this is a meadow, we can stamp the trees closer to us here. And then I'm just going to move to the back. I never went and grabbed any more ink, so it looks like you have more trees. So isn't this cool? Okay, so the next technique I'm going to show you is I want to put the sun coming up behind the mountain. So if I were to stamp just like this, I would have a circle into the mountain. I wouldn't have just that little crescent that's showing. So what you do is you take your mountain stamp, and then you take a Post-it note. And I have some Post-it notes that are sticky on this side. So what I'm going to do is stamp on my Post-it note, get my snips, and then I'm going to cut just around this little mountain shape. It doesn't have to be perfect. And how you use your snips and cut paper, I'm actually moving my paper. I'm not moving my scissors. The only thing I'm moving my scissors is down like this. So just moving my paper. And that makes it paper cutting, or what we call fussy cutting, just so much easier. Okay, so here I have a template. And so what I'm going to do is I want the sun coming up over this lighter gray mountain. So I'm going to take my template here, and I'm going to place it right over the mountain. Make sure that's dry. Okay, so now I have this, and I'm going to get my yellow, my lighter color yellow, so saffron, and then I'm going to stamp on the green and on the white. And I've got a little bit of sun coming up, but then the magic happens. You pull this off, and you've got the sun coming up from behind that mountain back there. Isn't that so cool? I love that. And of course, I love the grunge, so I'm going to take a little bit of the little spots that we used earlier for Sea Spray. Clean that, still had blue on it. And I'm going to use the Smoky Slate, the color of the mountains back there, and just do a little bit of stamping on that. The reason is because I got a little green on my fingers, and I got it there. But that's an opportunity to fix it up. There we go. Did I grab the green? Nope, I grabbed the gray. It's gray. It's just dark. Okay. There you go. And that hid my little ink mark. Okay, let me close up some of my inks here. I do want to put, this is going to be a masculine card, and I'll show you how. I want to put the word friend on there. And I'm going to go ahead and use that Smoky Slate and grab the stamp out of here. Now, the stamp is really small, like the thanks. So let's see, I think it's this way. Yes. And I'm going to put this right up at the top. Friend. So it can be a thank you card. It can be a thinking of you card. You can even splash happy birthday on the inside of that card. Okay. How I'm going to make that masculine is I took a piece of shaded, no, what is this? Soft suede. And I ran it through the pine wood planks embossing folder. And it makes it look like a wood look. Now, there is no brown on here, but I'll show you how I can tie the grays to this. But first of all, before I do this, I want to take some twine and tie it around this. And I really cheat when I tie twine because I actually am not tying a bow on my cardstock. It's hard for me to tie a bow. I never get it right, so I found a way to cheat at that. I'm just taking, let's see, I want to move this down just a little bit. Taking the twine and wrapping it like this, just around the back. You also save twine because you're not wrapping it around the whole thing. Okay, now I am going to put dimensionals on this to pop it up off the card also. So this is a bigger piece to dimensional, so I'm going to use a few more. Okay. Also, I have another tip about using dimensionals. One of my friends tossed her dimensionals when she was finished. And when she was finished, that meant by taking all these dimensionals out of the inside. But you can go back through here and cut. You still have dimensionals on the outside. They still work the same. So make your money last longer by using those. Okay, now I'm taking a soft suede base and going to put my soft suede top layer. There we go. And then I've got this little string here. Now I'm going to tie a bow. That's how I cheated. I didn't wrap it around to tie a bow. I am just going to get a small bow and take a mini glue dot and attach it to that string. So here's my mini glue dots. Just get one off with my finger, roll it up like this, and then just attach it to the string. And so there you go. So now, how I tie the smoky slate color to the soft suede is by using the green. And so I cut a piece of mossy meadow, a 1/4 inch bigger than this 3x3. So it's a 1/4 inch larger this way and this way. That way I can mount it up and it's perfect on all sides. So let's get my adhesive out, which I'm get it on my fingers and not on my cardstock. Here we go. Okay. See, it just, oh, love it. Then you have a 1/4 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch sticking out on all sides. And so I also want to pop this up to give it some dimension. I'm really into dimensionals today. And you see how you can make any, you can use any colors and it just makes this pop. I mean, it just makes it stand out. It just looks beautiful. You can make any kind of scene. You can make a beach scene, a water scene. Let's see, I'm going to put that right up to the bow. And how about that? Doesn't that look good? Okay, and on the inside, since soft suede is dark, I'm definitely going to put an insert, and I'm sending this card out today, so I love trees, so I'm going to grab that mossy meadow again and stamp some trees in there. I might stamp a sun in there too. Okay. Get my trees, stamp once, and I'm going to move over.
So it looks like I've got more than one tree. And let's go ahead and put a sun in there too. I like it. If I can get my ink shut. There we go. And always have some wet wipes around because you will get ink on your hands. That lets you know you've been very creative. Okay. And I'm just going to put the sun right there. There you go. So that's the inside of my card. And I will be writing this today. Let's see, my adhesive. Perfect. Just mount this on the inside. Okay, so these are the cards that I made for you today. Now this one I did different. I didn't put the string on there, and it's because I forgot. I was going to make the sample like this, but I forgot to do it. So I made sure I remembered for the video. And then here are these two cards. And then here is the beach scene. Now I also have one more to show you. I was just playing around last night. I stamped gray. After I watched the weather, found out we were going to have gray skies today here in Arkansas. So I made gray skies, but the sun still came up. And, you know, I've got water and I've got trees. Oh, I forgot my little sea spray. I want to put sea spray on there because I will. This is a full size layer. It's 4 1/4 by 5, or 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I'll mount that up on a card base without a mat or anything. On these we cut down, but on this one it's going to be a full size. So let's see. Let me get some crumb cake here. I can find my crumb cake ink. Here we go. And get me some little grunge on there. Oh yeah, I like that. Yes. Now doesn't that just look cool? It makes you feel like an artist. And it's just, I just love it. I love the stamp set. And I've used it multiple times. I would love for you to purchase this stamp set and bring out the little artist in you. So thank you guys for joining me. I will have this posted up on my blog as well as my YouTube channel. And thank you for joining me today. Y'all have a great day. And I will see you next Monday for the next Monday morning make.